In the blink of an eye, we're halfway through the first month of 2026. And if you're anything like me, one of your New Year goal might have been to read more. But reading is a big commitment. I mean, how would you know which books you should pick? That is why today I would like to share with you 5 incredible books that truly changed my life the last few years. And hopefully, it will change yours too. Hey, I'm Sean, and I'd like to take a moment to talk a little bit about myself. I personally love reading books that make me contemplate on life. So a lot of these books touch on the theme of gratitude, courage, and often love. Some of these books that I'm about to recommend are self-help books, but some of them are just art-related books because I've been really diving into the world of art. With that being said, let's dive into our little book review and maybe grab your favorite beverage or some water, and let's start. I don't know why I'm getting off the chair. I'm not sure about you, but I really struggle with people pleasing, and that comes in the form of perfectionism. There's been so many videos I worked on that I never published. So when I came across the book, The Courage to Be Disliked last year, I think it changed my life. A question that kept ringing in my head when I was reading this book is, what would make me feel like I truly used use of my life? Not what my parents would have thought, not what my brothers would have thought. Till this day, I still ponder on that question, but this book really helped me start that journey of exploration. There's one idea that I absolutely love from this book, which is the idea of the separation of tasks. You are only responsible for your thoughts and actions, and other people are responsible for their thoughts and actions. I think it's so frequent that we're trying to control how other people perceive us, whether we want to look more fashionable, more knowledgeable, or we put on glasses to look more intellectual. It seems like nowadays, maybe it's because of social media or just the way communities and people interact with each other, we're always trying to be liked. None of that really matters because life is not a competition. Life is a journey of exploration. You should be doing what you want to do. You know, if you want to lay in bed and watch anime 10 hours a day, which by the way sounds absolutely incredible, I think that's what you should do. And you owe it to yourself to do it, but you do not owe it to anyone else. When I first started this book, it was during last year when I was traveling, and I decided that, I wanted to post on TikTok and Instagram. And it was so scary because I'm like, what if my friends see it? What if my family see it? What if they judge me? What if they think it's cringe? And the truth is, it was something I really wanted to do. I often would find myself being held back from fear. Because it seems like when we take on experiences, we're worried that we would fail, right? We're worried that, what if I try to become a YouTuber and I fail at that? But the reality is, failing is a judgment. And that judgment does not have to occur if you don't take on the label of success and failures. You don't take on the idea of competing with everyone else. And I think this book is an incredible practice and a reminder that you are not here to compete with everyone else. You are here to do your journey in the best way you know. And that's it. Oh man. The book that I wanted to introduce you next, I actually lost it. But by far, it is my favorite book of all time, which is Tuesday with Morrie. Makes me a little bit sad to think about this story, but this is a real story between the author Mitch Albom and a sociology professor at Brandeis University, Morrie Schwartz. And after years of not seeing each other, he found out through local news that Morrie Schwartz was diagnosed with ALS, and he decided that he would revisit his old professors. This story actually features a lot of Morrie's teaching, and these teachings are extremely loving, extremely gentle, and it taught me a lot about how can I be a more gentle, kind, and loving person. Personally, I cried quite a few times reading this book because I read it when a really close family member of mine was also diagnosed with a terminal illness. My favorite quote from the book, which I have a tattoo on my right arm for, is, "Love is the only rational act." I feel like in modern society, it's really easy to start evaluating people based on the value they provide, mainly towards what work they're doing or if they're making good money to provide for their family and friends. And I think these are noble goals, but I think there are more important questions that this book ponder on, which is, what is the feeling that this person gives you when you're with them? Are they a loving friend? Are they a loving family member? Do they make you feel warm? And I think these are genuine, important things that we should strive for, that we can do every single day. And not only should we strive for them, but also we should notice them. We should be able to see how our friends are people that have such a gentle, loving heart that it allows us to kind of appreciate them more, because when you realize, oh wow, they're an incredible hardworking person, but at the same time, they bring all these kindness onto the table. That is an incredible friend. This is iced coffee. Previously in my other videos, I mentioned that I always want to take a segment of my video and give a little bit of life update. So if you're interested to learn more about books, please skip forward to the upcoming part. There's timestamps below. So a few days ago, it was actually my birthday. I would like to say that my birthday was incredible, but the truth was I had a lot of mixed feelings during my birthday. I mean, I was really, really happy to be around family, but at the same time, on the other side of my mind, there was a version of me that was like, hey, bro, you're 27, late 20s. Do you have yourself figured out? Do you know what you want to do? And that's a question I feel like I've been contemplating with for a very long time. And it's quite scary. For now, I want to see where I can take YouTube, making videos that hopefully help others to live a more passionate, loving life, and building the skills required to talk comfortably in front of a camera. So that's a lot of my focus nowadays. And I feel like I'm actually at a stage in my life where I realize that this journey that I'm taking on is mine, and I get to kind of shape it in whatever way I want. If you're someone who's in your late 20s or anywhere in your life and you feel like, hey, I'm not really sure what's going on, I want to say it is a common feeling, because we spend most of our lives nowadays looking at other people's lives. So if there's one thing that I would say is, one, start taking care of your life the best way you know. Maybe that means there's a little bit of contemplating to do. Maybe that means there's more actions you should take, and just start from there and think of life a bit like an experiment. Not every single thing is the be all and end all. You can just try things, see if you like it. And if you don't like it, it doesn't make it a failure. It means that you have succeeded in your experiment in learning what you like. And it'll guide you towards a direction where you can live a more fulfilling and meaningful life. Whew, that was a yap. Yeah, let's go back to book reviews. The third book I want to tell you about is one of the most special birthday presents I have ever received, and it's called Inward by young Pueblo. It is a collection of poems and short writings that mainly touches on the theme of love and growth. Let me just read you something so you can get a hang of what their writing is like. What does it mean to live in love? It means to rise above judgment so that we may see the world and ourselves with eyes of compassion. It means allowing the wisdom of love to orchestrate our action, to always seek to produce thoughtful movements that support the good of all beings, and to admit peace into the ocean of humanity with our every step. Living in love is allowing ourselves to move through life with an open heart so that we all may share in the gift of our goodwill and kindness. It is to ask ourselves, how would love heal this situation before we make our move? Yeah, that's pretty incredible. Personally, I have always thought poems to be boring. Growing up, I was never into poems, any Shakespeare, any things like that. But something like this, something that doesn't have very, very fancy language, something that's straightforward, honest, and genuine, I find this to really, really strike me to the core. What I found incredible with this book is that I find so many of these words to resonate with me so strongly that I realized writing is probably the most important skill that I needed to improve on. Videos are mainly about writing. If you've seen any of my short form videos on Instagram, I think I can be quite a selfish person, which in turn makes me feel lost all the time. I think when we're selfish, when we direct all the energy towards the self, how can I be more attractive? How can I make cooler things? How can I have other people feel impressed by me? We often feel lost because that judgment is always from the outside coming in. And I truly, truly think that a lot of them are inspired by the themes touched in this book. Another thing that I really love about this book is every single piece of writing is really short. You know, it only takes you like a couple of minutes to read like a few pages. And I think if you're someone that's really busy, but you still want to be able to chill out and pick up a book and read a couple of pages and feel a little bit more fulfilled and chill, I think this book does that job really, really well. And also, when my university friends bought me this birthday present, they decided that they would go through each of these pages and find one poem that really resonated with them, and they wrote a personal note. So as I'm reading them, I was finding my friends' writings, and I find this to be such a special present. Getting a poem book and writing messages in it is so genius. It seems like this book is now on everyone's top 5 list. This is The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rubin. And I'll be honest with you, this book scared me at first because the cover looked so serious. You know, at first I thought it might be a really pretentious book. I think the word artist has always been a bit of a distant term to me because it feels like being an artist requires you to be snobby and have really unique taste. One thing that's really special about this book is Rubin actually. He writes in a way that's very objective. Like, he doesn't bring a lot of his own experience into the book. It's really just boiling down to the philosophical concept of what creating means. Lately, I've been trying to dive a bit more into the world of art, whether it's in poems, whether it's in old films. I really want to learn more about what does it mean to be an artist? What does it mean to create art? And sometimes I even ponder and question, like, what's the difference between a content creator and an artist? Point being is, I grew up in Hong Kong where art wasn't really valued. Art was a means to make a living and it's kind of looked down upon. I remember when I was quite young, I thought about the idea of being an artist, and one of my family members said, can you imagine raising a kid all the way up until adulthood just for them to become an artist? And I remember that felt discouraging to me. So to kind of be older and be able to reconnect with the idea of art through making videos, I find myself picking up this book to try to learn what it means to make art. And this book definitely teaches you so much of that. And I genuinely think it's an incredible pickup. Plus, it also looks so good. Looks so good. The 5th book I've recommended for you is If You Want to Write by Brenda Ueland. Is it really pronounced Ueland? Can someone let me know in the comments? Personally, I think storytelling matters more than ever with AI in the rise, with content creation being the pillar of so many businesses. Writing is probably the most essential skill when it comes to making videos, because if you can write well, your video would flow coherently, and a coherent video with a good plot or good message will always beat a video that is just visually pleasing without any substance. Which is why when I had the time, I decided to pick up a book that would teach me how to write. And this book is actually one of my favorite books that I picked up in 2025 because it teaches on the spirit of writing. Let me read you something that Brenda wrote about Van Gogh that really made me think about why people make art. When Van Gogh was a young man in his early 20s, he was in London studying to be a clergyman. He had no thought of being an artist at all. He sat in his cheap little room writing a letter to his younger brother in Holland, whom he loved very much. He looked out his window at a watery twilight, a thin lamppost, a star, and he said in his letter something like this: "It is so beautiful, I must show you how it looks." And then on his cheap ruled paper, he made the most beautiful, tender little drawing of it. I think there is something so special about making art that's related to just showing something beautiful to the world. I think this book touches on the idea of what it means to be an artist and a writer really well, so highly recommend this book. So those are the 5 books that have changed my life the last few years. Some of them are books that I've literally cried to multiple times, and some of them are books that taught me lessons that I'm still learning till this day. Let me know in the comments if any of those books interest you. And also for this video, I tried to keep the format as simple as possible, where I just yap and talk a little bit about what I've learned. As I'm learning more about how to live a more gentle and loving life, I also would like to be able to present that and share the teachings that I've learned to the world. So it would mean a lot to me if you're able to take some time and let me know if any of the stuff I've said in this video resonated with you. With that being said, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch the video. I hope you have the most incredible day. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.